Today I'm going to be talking about barriers to creativity. I've struggled a lot over the years to create for a variety of reasons. I've created a list of 5 common barriers to creativity from my own experiences as a crafter, as well as the experiences of other crafters that I've spoken to, along with some suggestions on how to overcome them. Barrier number 1. Art and craft supplies are expensive. Perhaps you haven't got all the things that you need to complete a project that you want to do. There are several ways to approach this problem. If you're desperate to get started straight away and you don't have a long list of supplies, check to see if there's a local class for the activity that you want to do. Often it will work out cheaper, especially if you think it might be something that you only do the once. If it's something that you want to continue with, you can then build up the supplies afterwards. And if you don't fancy a physical class, lots of places sell small kits containing everything you need to just complete one project. That might be a good way of just dipping your toe into a new craft and seeing how you get on. If you don't mind waiting a little bit to get started, then what you could do is keep an eye out in charity shops and car boot sales, and have a look on Facebook Marketplace, for instance. You will always find people destashing for house moves or just clear outs in general. The last thing you can do is try and think creatively about the supplies that you need and try to look for alternative or unconventional sources. So, for instance, I was given some mountain board from a picture framing company that were going to throw it away, and actually it was perfect for small crafting projects. Things like old pillows that have gone a bit flat are perfect for reusing as stuffing in things like soft toys. Need a work refluffing it again, but it's still perfectly usable as long as it's clean. It's the same if you've got some old clothes that are damaged, or perhaps a duvet cover that's no longer fit for purpose. It can all be reused. One of the things that I did some time ago is, instead of throwing away an old foam mattress, I repurposed it into a dog bed and a foam footstool for my living room to double up as additional seating. I also used an old curtain to cover it, so the fabric and the main part of the footstool were free. So I repurposed items that I already had. Barrier number 2. You just don't feel good enough and that everything you do goes wrong. Fear of failure can be a massive barrier to even beginning to try something new. Once again, finding a local or online workshop might be a good approach for you. You'll get expert advice and you'll have a completed project at the end of the workshop, and that will hopefully give you some more confidence to try something else. You want to try to build up your confidence with positive reinforcement. Hopefully by successfully completing lots of smaller guided projects, you'll build up the confidence until you are ready to try something bigger and more experimental and be able to add on your own artistic flares onto projects. Hopefully after some time you will feel less scared of failing. After all, you'll be able to look back at all the successful projects that you have completed and remind yourself that every experience is an opportunity to learn something. Often I find that I learn more from failing a few times before I achieve something than if I'd have just succeeded the first time. Try and work on changing your mindset about how you think of failure. Nearly everything you've ever learned to do in your life, you've failed many times before you've succeeded. So think of children. When they try to walk or talk, they fail so many times, but each time they are building up the experience until they are able to do it easily one day. Try and look at your creative endeavours in the same way. And then when you look back, you'll be able to see how much you've grown and how much you've developed your skills. Barrier number 3. You just don't have the time to be creative. Often this isn't actually the case, and I know I'm really guilty of this. I tell myself I just don't have enough time to complete all the things that I want to do, but actually when I stop and have a look at what I have been doing, I've been scrolling on social media or watching something on Netflix, and it's all time that I could have spent actually completing projects that I wanted to work on. So I'm trying to organise my time a bit better myself and trying to schedule in a couple of small sessions each week to dedicated to completing creative projects. I'm hoping that, like any habit, once I've done it for a few weeks, it should be easier in time to get into a creative mindset, and I'll hopefully get a lot more done. Barrier number 4, you just don't know where to start. Perhaps Perhaps you know what activity you want to do, but you don't know what project to do in that medium. Perhaps you want to crochet something and you don't know what project to start with, or you want to draw but you don't know what to draw. If the craft supplies aren't an issue, if there's things like drawing, you could try an online random generator. There are quite a few sites dedicated to providing drawing prompts, and these can often work for creative writing too. I'll link a few down below if you are interested in these. If you're looking at doing something like crochet or sewing or cricket, for instance, have a look at one of the many online patterns. Whichever project jumps out at you first, stop and do it. Don't keep looking. You'll find that actually you end up getting stuck in a cycle where you just keep scrolling and you'll become totally overwhelmed and probably won't end up doing anything. And I know that I'm certainly guilty of that one. Maybe you want to try so many different mediums but you don't know which one to choose. In that case, you can pick one of two strategies. So if craft supplies aren't an issue, you could just try doing a simple lucky dip, and whatever you pull out first is the activity that you do. If craft supplies are more of an issue, create a list of all the supplies that you do have and match them up against the projects that you want to complete. And whichever one you've got the most items for and is going to cost you the least to get the items to complete it, go with that project. Barrier number 5, you struggle with motivation to get started and you feel that if you don't have a final purpose for a project, then you can't start it. While it's good to make things for other people, this issue is with your mindset. Challenge your belief system when your mind goes to these thoughts, and instead try to change your thoughts to accept that the journey is just as valid as the final result. The enjoyment you get from being creative is just as valid a reason to craft, even if it doesn't result in a product that you can see a purpose for at this time. Being creative has been linked so many times with helping individuals with their mental well-being. Try and look at your creative time like personal well-being time, and if you really do struggle with this, then you could always try and use your creativity to help charitable causes. I know that locally hospitals will accept donations of homemade baby hats and similar. Perhaps you could try and find a charity near you that needs help. I hope this video has been useful to you, and I hope that whatever your creative barriers are, you are able to overcome them. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel to keep up to date with new videos. Thanks for watching. Take care.